And we're back, and it's COMP305. I know it's a trademark. And it's the winter 2016 semester. It's week 4, lesson 4, part 4, I think. And of our recording, our broadcast wasn't working, and I didn't want to take a chance. I will upload these videos later. Okay. So last we left off, we did this endgame thing. We're still missing some pieces. I want a way of knowing what my score is, my final score, right? I don't want to show my score anymore, and I don't want to show my lives anymore. I want to get rid of those two things as well, because it makes it look like when I'm playing my game. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to launch my Unity for a second to give you a shot. By the way, I've updated GitHub for those people who are trying to figure out what's not working for them, right? So I play the game, and then when I die, okay, game over. I still have my score, and I still have my lives, and it says lives 1. That doesn't make any sense. I want to move that away. I want to kill that. That's got to go. And my score also has to disappear. So I want to disable those as well. All right? Let's try this out. So I'm going to go down to here, and I want to do the same kind of idea for what I'm going to put into my game, right? So in my end game, not only do I want to enable my game over label, but I want to say this dot lives label dot enabled. By the way, if I go set active, can I do set active? No. Look, is it available? Lives label dot set active? Nope. But it's available here, right? I can go enabled, but I can't go set active. It's not available for that kind of object. So enabled is equal to false. And the same thing goes with my score label. My score label, I want to disable that as well. So to create that condition that we're game over, right? Okay, let's check this out and make sure it works. I'm going to just stop Unity and start Unity again, right, to make that change. Ba-ba-bum, boom, boom. Let's just die, get a little bit of score, and die. Now game over. This is good, so it kind of makes it look like it's another screen. It's not another screen, though, by the way. Same screen, but it makes it look like another screen. Okay, cool. Game over, and I want to put my high score somewhere on the bottom, right, like over here somewhere. Underneath game over. Let's do it. So I want to put in my canvas element, I want to put another thing that's high score label, right? So right click, my canvas element, I need the UI text object that I'm going to rename right away to high score label. There we go. Here's my high score label. That's right there. And I want to use my middle button to put it there again with my option text middle. And let's see my scene where it appears. It's in the middle, right? It's overlapping the other one. And let's put in high score, and then the score would be something like 9,999, right? Just to make sure. I want to use my proper font. There we go. We'll do this doc 51. There we go. Doc 51. There's the font. And I want to change my color to yellow because we're using that yellow color. Beautiful yellow color. Come on. Right? Hey, okay, cool. It's kind of weird. And we want to make it big. Font size should be almost the same size. Instead of, we'll make it something like 40, right? There we go. And we can't see anything still because it's underneath the other one. And also because of my height is 30, we'll make it to 50, right? And we'll make it a width of 640, so it's centered. There it is. Look, see how it is right here. And we'll also align it to the center in my alignment area. Now this is cool, but I want to bring it down, and this time I'm just going to use my eye to control where it's going to be. It's going to be right here. And I'm setting this by eye because this is the best way instead of trying to figure it out. And I can adjust the finite numbers on my own. So instead of minus 49, I don't like that. I can always make that minus 50 just to make it even, right? Okay, there's my high score. I've got a place for my high score, and it'll support 9,999 as my high score, right? Okay, cool. That's good. I've got that going on. I got to have a reference to this to print out, and so that means in my script, I need to create my reference really quickly. We've done this all before. This is just additional references we're making. Notice that I have my lives label, my score label, my game control. And just to make this, if I change just as an FYI, if I change the order of these public variables right now in Unity, I'm going to have to re-drag and drop everything, FYI, once I change the order of these things. So it won't know, the Unity inspector won't know what to do. So for now, we can always reset this later on. What I should have done is made these along with my cloud controller kind of together. So all my controllers on one and all my text on the other. That's what I should do. And just so I'm not lazy, I will do it to show you that I have to drag and drop. Watch. So I'll cut these out and I'll put these over here. And now that I've made these happen, I have to drag and drop all this stuff again. Right? I'll show you that. Public text, and then it's going to be high score label. There it is. That's what it is. Here's my high score label. I have a reference to it now. And what I want to do is, whatever my last score was, I want to set to my high score label. So before I show it, I'm going to say that by default, my this.highscore label, I'm going fast, but you'll see what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you the text in a second. My high score label enabled is equal to false, because I don't want to show my high score label until the end of the game, right? And then over here, I want to say this.highscoreLabel.enabled is equal to true. But I also want to assign my high score to the high score, right? So I could do it a couple places. For example, I could do it as I go, right? So the latest high score or whatever is going to be here. And there's different things to test for if this is truly the high score, right? If my high score is greater than my score or whatever, my last score, call it what you want to say. That's the way I could put it. I could test for it, but it's not going to persist, right? So I could create a current score and high score, two variables, like score value, high score value. I could do that, right? For now, all I'm just going to say, whatever the score value is, the last score value, is going to make it my high score. It's not really accurate, but hey, let's try that out. So before I enable it up here into my endgame, I can say something like this. This dot high score label dot text, right, is equal to, right, high score. I gotta show this again, right? High score plus this dot underscore score value, right? My last score value. I got to do that, or else I'm not going to have anything for my to be put into my high score, right? I need to do that. I got to convert this and show it. Okay, so that's cool. So I've got my high score, and I've got my game over. I made a couple changes. Let's see what I have to do in Unity to fix everything now. Because remember, I reordered my public instance variables here. I reordered the order of them, right? And when I do that, the inspector demands that I drag and drop. Let's show you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove it to you. Watch. So I go back to game controller and, hey, what happened? How come it's all still there? What's going on? How come it fixed? And the beautiful thing is, before in previous versions of Unity, it didn't. You had to literally drag and drop again. Okay? Okay, cool. That's good. High score label. I want to drag and drop my high score label into my high score label. There it is. And when I do that, it'll update this value. Let's press play and test it. Nothing that you haven't seen before, by the way.
Yay.
Let's get a score. Oh, 100. Hold on a second.
Yay.
Let's see if I can get
Yay.
a couple options here. Whoa. I'm not going to go for that one. Oh, not for that one either. There's some tricks, eh? Oh, yeah. I'm done there. So I'm being more careful now so I get a higher score. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can do this. Ah. All right. That's cool. I understand, right? Here's something. What if I want to kind of show some kind of game over sound, like bitter, 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 right? And I don't have a game over sound like that. I want to make it. What do I do, right? Let's make the sound. I've downloaded something called Audacity. Audacity, right? And it's a free download. If you want to look at Audacity, here it is. Let's check this out. So you want to get some sounds, you want to make your original sounds, you can go to Audacity. Oops. Audacity, right? If I download Audacity, it's a free download, right? For Mac and Windows and Linux and everything, right? So it's out down here to download for you, right? So go ahead, download Audacity if you don't have it already. When you download, you get an interface like this, and I can record my voice like this. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, right? One of those. Let's try it. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Right? Let's play it and see what it sounds like. Let's try it. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Now, I got some extra crap in there, so I want to just just take this piece because this is where my waveform is for my voice, right? And I want to cut it out. Look, notice that there's some scissors up here. Cut. Oh no, that's what I want to do. Hold on. I want to keep that one, right? I don't want to silence the audio. I want to be able to copy that or cut it. So I can cut the different pieces I don't need. So for example, I can cut this piece out before, and I can go into detail. I can actually do this, cut, and the back, and I can test it afterwards, right, to make sure it's okay. So let's do this. Well, there we go. Cut, and now let's try it. Oh wait, from here, I gotta move my playhead over here. Oh, here we go. Playhead. Oh, undo. I meant to do. Sorry, a little bit of work, and this. Cut. Put this back here. Right? Play again. And that's what this thing does, right? This thing will stop here, and that's all I want. But I want to amplify this thing, right? So I want to kind of do something to this. I want to change the waveform and go to the effect and do something else, maybe amplify it a little bit, and then preview it. A little bit louder, right? And I got some laughter in there too, eh? And that's cool. I'll accept that. Notice the waveform changes. And I'll also do things like change the pitch. Let's change the pitch, right? Make it a little lower and preview it. Right? So I don't know who it is. There it is. And I'll also change the speed to make it a little faster, right? So it's not as fast, it's not as bad as before. So let's see that. Right? Whatever. I want to have this little piece here. I want to extract it and use it as a MP3 to put inside my code, right? As an asset. How do I do that? I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Export. Now, in order for you to do MP3s, there's an additional thing you need to do for Audacity. You can't just do MP3s from the get-go, FYI, right? If I go to Export, and notice I can do MP3 files and different kinds. It may not give you this list from the get-go. I think I had to download an additional extension or agree to something for this one. But I'm going to make it an MP3 file, and I want to put it inside, just to show you where it's going to be, in my COMP305. I go to Unity Projects. I'm going to go to COMP305, Winter 2016 Mail Pilot, go into Assets directly, go into Audio, where here it is, and then just call it, Game Over, and .mp3. So it's an MP3. Press Save. It's going to export. It's going to ask me for some stuff. So I've done this before, as you can see. Let's just call this, Game Over. And then my album is for Mail Pilot, because I'm going to do some stuff here. I can actually name this. So this is Mail Pilot, right? It's my album. And it's 2016. So you can see it is a long time ago, 2016. It's an arcade game, and it's track 1. Sure. Let's do this. I'll add this on, and I'll click OK. When I do that, it actually exports it, and I should have it under my audio as Game Over. There it is. What'd you get? Okay, and if I press play to test it, right? That's what it's going to sound like. I want that to play, and I want that to play as an audio source, right? In my Game Over script, right? That's what I wanted to do. So there's my audio source. How do I do that? So I got to go back to my Game Over, my game controller. Pay attention, guys. Here's my game controller, and I want to make a private reference to an audio source, right? So I'm going to say private audio source. I don't have this yet, but I will, right? And is equal to Game Over sound. Game Over. Oh, let's make the underscore there. Game Over sound. There it is. Right, here's my private audio source. And what I want to do down here is I want to play it. So one of the things I want to do here in my end game, look at all these things I'm doing in my end game. I want to go, this dot underscore game over sound dot play. It's only going to play once. Okay, there we go. I don't have a reference to that yet, so I got to do that in the inspector. So I'm going to go back to Unity, go into my audio for my audio sources, right? I'm going to choose my game controller, right? Here's my game controller. Hold on. Hold on. You're right. Let me see if I can add my component. I got to add an audio source. right? Here's my audio source. And then I don't want this to play on wake. And I want to take my clip, my game over clip, and put it in as my audio clip. There it is. Okay, now it's private. It's private, but I want it to be seen, right? And there's ways of doing that. I'm going to show you this way now as an additional thing to do. I want to show, right, my game over sound, which is up here. I've declared it up here as a private audio source. And the way you can do that is you can go with brackets. You know, if I'm not wrong, if I go serializable, let's see if I go, serialized field. Serialized field, if I do that, right? I'm showing you this so that I don't have to do it this way. I'm showing you it because you can make it private. So it's not exposed, but you can still serialize it. It can be exposed in the inspector. Let's try this out. And let's see if it is, if this works in Unity, right? Yeah. Oh. Game over sound right here, right? See? Even though it's private, that's why I didn't say in your test, is it the only way, right, that you can expose it on. You can do it private, but you have to serialize field. You have to use square brackets. It's a filter that we use in C#, by the way, and different times to serialize. We can use a filter to modify my field, and it has to be directly underneath, like this. This square bracket, the thing that's in here, has to be directly above the field that I'm affecting. All right, or else it won't work. That's just a rule, right? And if I put serialized field, it'll expose this in the inspector. And then I can drag and drop like I normally do, right? In here, like this. So I need to go to my game over, right? My audio source. Oh man, hold on a second. I'm trying to serialize my game over script, but it's already here, right? How do I do that? It's like this. I can take my game controller in itself and drag it in. I'm looking at my game controller and I'm taking my game controller and making it its own reference as a trick. So literally there's no code here. I mean, I just have to make my field and it's good. So now I don't want it to play on awake, right? But I want it to play when I'm done. Let me just try this out and see if it works. It doesn't give me an error. So I'm playing and, oh wait, I gotta get at least a score of some kind. Yay. Okay, and, right? There it is. Right? So that's how it is. That's how you serialize a field that's private. Hint, hint, it might come up on a test. Right? How do I serialize a field that's private? You need to put serialized field in square brackets in like this, and it has to be just above, sitting just above the field you want to serialize. Okay, cool. That's cool. I've got almost everything I need, except I want to restart the game. How do I restart the game? I need a button or some kind of thing. Now on the tutorial online, they give you like a button to press, like R, to reset. We're not going to do that. We're going to make a button that's underneath my high score. So how do I do that? Well, I need to go in here into my game controller, my canvas, and add a button. Let's do that. So I'm going to go canvas, right click, right? I'm going to go UI, button, right? There we go. Here's my button. Notice that as a default, it appears in the last position that I have it, which is right here. And I want to pull this button down to where I want it, which is right here. There's my button. Here's what it's going to look like in the game. Oops, that's not what I wanted. In the game, it's going to look like this, button, right now. It's just silly, right? I have some control over what the button is. First of all, this button is the restart button. Restart button. Let's rename that to restart button. Yay. Underneath my button, I have a text object, right, which is part of the button. The button actually includes a label. I can rename this label, right, my restart label. Look at how we're matching up. And instead of the text being button, right, I can call it restart. And not only that, but I can change its font size, which is going to be something like the same size as this, like 40 at least. We're going to have some trouble because I don't have no space for this right now. And some other things too, right? Like I don't have a width and height option here. Notice I don't have the option for that. But I can resize my button, which I will do. So let's go back to my button, which is the higher level one. And if I scroll up, I have a choice to how big the button is. So I'll make it worth 50. So bigger, restart, there it is. And that's pretty ugly, right? Because I don't like the way it looks. So let us make the text the same as this one by going into the label itself. And I'm going fast, but you guys can see this on the video. And I'm going to go into my fonts and drag and drop here into my Arial. There it is, restart. right? And if I don't like the label, I want to make it, you know, yellow and white as a difference, just to make it different. The button outside will be yellow, and the inside will be white. So let's change the color to white. So we'll say this is all on. Here it is, the button text. Oops, all on, all on, all on. There we go, all on. You can't see the label saying restart. But my button itself on the background, normally my normal color, here's my normal color right here, will be yellow, right? So I'm going to turn this one, my blue, down, right? So it's my, well, that doesn't look very good. Yellow on black on blue, but maybe we can make it so that the button is, the background is blue like this, or transparent. How about that? And let's make my highlighted button, make that a little bit yellowy as well, but not as yellow. We'll pull it down into the grayer area here. Here we go. You can see how I've got a normal color and a highlighted color. When I hover my mouse over my button, right, I have a highlighted color, and a pressed color is something else. All right, and there's different transitions. We're just using color tint. You can also make your own sprites. Notice that you can sprite swap. I can use an animation. I can do all kinds of stuff with the button. All right, but for now, let's leave it as is. Okay, I don't like the text being that color, so let's go back to my text, and let's change my color from this. And I want to use my color picker this time. Here's my color picker. And I want to make it kind of the background color somewhere over here. So notice I want to just choose a blue from the background. There we go. To kind of make it so it's transparent. All right, there we go. Okay, cool. I don't know, that's pretty cool, but I want to make my button a little larger, and I want to make it a little bit down a little more. So I'm going to pull the button down. Oops, undo. I want to pull the button down. Here's the button. Move that down a little bit. My restart button. And what I want to do with the button is make it a little bit longer, a little bit bigger, because it's still not quite large enough for my liking. Right? So I'm going to go back up here to the rect transform for my button. Remember, it's still a UI element, so it has a rect transform instead of a transform object or component. So my width, let's make that 200 to make it a little bit larger than life, makes it a little bit nicer. And there's my restart button. Cool. My restart button is going to be disabled, right? So it's going to be, instead of enabled is equal to true, I've got to make a reference to my restart button somehow inside my game controller object. So let's do that. Let's make the script happen. So da-da-da. And down here, notice I have some text, and let's put my button. So public. I could make it private and serialize it, but what the hell? Button, right? And we're going to call this restart button, just like it is, right? It's a button type instead of a text type. Save. Go and make the connection in Unity. Here's my connection. Here's my restart button, right? And here's my game controller. Notice that now my game controller script, let's move this audio source up for a second. Move up. My game controller script, here's my button, my restart button's on the bottom. I'm just going to drag and drop my whole button and make a reference to it right here. There it is, right? Restart button. Yeah? And now inside my script, now that I've got that, when I start my game, inside my initialize function, I'm going to say that my this dot restart button, right, dot enabled is equal to false. And I'm going to do the same thing down here for when it's true. So I want to play the sound, and my score label and everything else is enabled. I might as well up here, right? I want to, even at the bottom, it doesn't really matter. I want to set this dot restart button dot enabled is equal to true. And I also want to make another function, a new one, that says when I click my button, what's going to happen, right? Let's do this really quickly. I'm going to make it my own name. All right? It has to be public, unfortunately, right? So here in my public, these are private methods. I want to make an area that has public methods. So use public methods. And we're going to make a public function that returns void that we're going to call, right, restart, capitals, restart button click, right? That's my function. It's my custom function. And inside this custom function, I want to do one of these. Application.load, or I think it's restart level, right? Let's say load level. Oh, yes. Oh, it's wiped out now. What does it say? Use scene manager to determine what scenes have been loaded. This is new, peoples. Right? Obsolete. This property is deprecated. Please load level async to detect if a specific scene is currently loading. Right? Oh, I see. But the way you would normally do it is you do load level. This is new in Unity 5.3. So you can do, if I go load level, I could use it. It's just obsolete. And in brackets, I can put the name of the level that I'm loading, which would be main. That is valid, right? However, it doesn't like it. We're going to use the new way of doing it with the scene manager later. Okay, let's do that. That's the way you do it. Application.load level main. That's new in Unity 5.3. Okay, if that works, it's going to reload my level. However, right? I could say restart loaded level too, or loaded level restart. So let's try this out. So if I go loaded level, right, dot, right, loaded level, and I want to say restart, right? I can do that too. But let's just do that, load level, because that's how you do it from everything else. If I go load level, that's the old way of doing it. So dot load level. I'm not going to use the async yet, and we'll still call it main. Okay, so that's it. So all it's going to do is load that level up again. Okay, cool. That's what the restart button is going to do, but I need to connect that little function there to the restart button, right? How do I do that? I do that inside Unity. My button, right, my restart button, on the bottom has a little area that has my button script, right? And it has an on-click event. So when I click it, what happens? Nothing right now is happening, right? Here it is on the bottom of my restart button. I got to click this little plus, and I'm going to make it so that, notice how I'm going to choose which script is going to control it. Well, I want my game controller script to control my button, right? Here's my game controller script. All I did was point to it with my little target right here. And down here in my no function, right, I want to go back down to game controller, and I want to search for my public method, which is restart button click, which I made right here. So that's the one it's going to fire, my game controller restart button click, when I click the button. Okay? Don't worry, if you haven't seen this, I'm recording it, and I'm going to show you to again and again and again. And we're going to do that new way of doing it with the restart manager. All right, cool. Let's check this out and see if it works, right? Maybe I made a mistake and it doesn't work anymore. All right, play. Oh, man. What happened? Look.
Yay.
It's not even... It works now, right? But how come it's showing me this thing here? Huh? That's neat. So see how it works, right? Well, no, this is it the text or is it the whole button? Look.
Button is gone. Only text.
Yeah, it's a text.
Well, look what's here, right? Do I see my button here in my controller, right? So I'm gonna press play. Let's press play again, and let's see. Do I have my button? Here's my restart button, right? And my restart button is here, but then it shows up, right here.
Yay.
So we have to fix that. Let's fix that really quickly. And I'm going to go to my script and see what happened, right? So my button contains text, and you're saying I should get rid of my text, but really it's not true because my restart button is enabled true here, and my restart button over here is enabled false. So theoretically, it should be gone. So this is incorrect. So there's some kind of broken thing we have to fix, and it's not today we're going to fix it, all right? I'm going to look it up online and how to do it because I'm running out of time, all right? But that's what you have to do. You have to basically do it so that this button here is not showing, right? The other way to do it is to take the button and put it off screen, worst case scenario, and put it back on screen when you need it, right? And some people do that as well. They actually cast all the buttons live and everything's enabled. And then what they do is they bring all the UI back. It just kind of floats in like this, whoop, right? From off screen. So it doesn't really matter how you do it. That would be another solution. And that might be the problem with my restart button being enabled, disabled. Okay, we'll talk about that and I'll look it up. One more thing. Yes?
Application.load level main, it throws an error saying it's deprecated.
I know.
So I'm not.
You can't use it at all? I can use it.
It throws an error. I don't know why you're not getting it.
I'm not getting no error.
We can use it, but it shows that.
I know it's deprecated.
It's a green line.
Green line. It's a yeah. There's a green line.
We can use it, but it's supposed to.
It says not to use it, and I'll come up with a new way when I see you next time, okay? Before you go, I want you to take a look at the requirements, right, for assignment number 2, just really quickly. What you're going to make is you're going to be making a 2D platformer, okay? Now, you don't know how to make a 2D platformer, but when you look at assignment 2, just really quickly, right? Here's assignment 2. And here are the details for assignment 2, right? This is due Friday, February the 26th. So again, for those people who have me for advanced graphics, the same day. For those people who have me with web game programming, it'll be the same day for that one too, right? It's worth 10%. You're going to make a 2D platformer, and there is a tutorial that's online that I'd like you to take a look at. Starting next week, we're going to start this new tutorial series where I make a new platformer with physics in 2D, right? So stay tuned for that. We're going to do a whole new tutorial. We're going to leave Mail Pilot behind and say bye-bye to it, right? We've done enough Mail Pilot for the day, right? And then hopefully, remember, by this Friday, your assignment number 1 is due. The details about assignment number 2 are identical to assignment number 1, except that, right? It says here random placements of items and everything else. One thing I'd like you to tell you about the platformer is please don't make the platformer in one screen. Okay, that's one thing that this doesn't say. I'd like you to make it so that it's a couple screens wide, all right? A couple, 2 or 3 screens wide, so that you actually physically have to walk to those screens, right? So the background will move. You'll move around the background, and the camera will follow the player, okay? That's what you want to do, and I'll show you how to do that. So it's the only change. Also, you're going to be using 2D physics, which I'm going to be showing you in the new thing. And you're going to have enemies that are sitting on the platforms, right, that are going to not fall off on their own. We're going to talk about things like line casting, right, and ray casting, and those kind of things in our 2D, in the next 2D section. I'll tell you right now, from a difficulty perspective, Mail Pilot is low. It's like 4 out of 10, like really low in terms of what you need to do. Platformer, because we're using physics, bumps us up to 6 or 7 out of 10. And traditionally, it goes like this, like I told you. Mail Pilot is great. Right, you guys make a great, some kind of side-scroller game or whatever. Platformer is pretty good for some of you, right? And then my next one is my first-person perspective game that we're going to do second half of the semester. That one sucks for the most part, right? So which one do most people do for their final project? It's usually the middle one or the first one, right? Because it's just easier to extend those than make this. This is hard. 3D is a hard thing. That extra Z, like I said to you before, it increases the complexity a lot. Guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.
Do you have examples to show about?
I do. I have tons of examples from last semester, and we'll show you some next week.